Hey guys, it's Saru, and I think the most anticipated game, at least for me, that's been showcased this year so far is Where Winds Meet. Now, I'm not the only one. I think that the game is taking over the internet by storm, and everyone's talking about it or taking interest in one way or another. But the big question is whether or not this game is actually going to be an MMO because of how the developers actually describe this game on their website. So, we'll see what exactly it means by their multiplayer options and see whether or not Where Winds Meet really is an MMO. As always fellas, make sure to subscribe here to the channel if you like any gaming content. I like to cover games that I enjoy, and usually that means MMOs, RPGs, horror games, and really anything, to be honest, as long as it's interesting. So, let's get right into it. So, first things first, players have been scouring and scavenging the entire internet to find information on this game, only to find out that basically there is no way to find out about this game at all. In fact, the website is so well hidden that unless you're a Chinese player or know where to look for Chinese content, then you will not be able to find this website nor its information. So, don't you worry, because you can find out information in the description below. Now, upon entering the website, you'll have a pretty neat UI, but more than that, options for both English and Chinese. This opens up the website to be a little bit different based on the options you choose. For example, in the Chinese version, there's the option to sign up for the upcoming beta. You'll need a QQ number and a Chinese ID for this, by the way, whereas the English version just has the site translated pretty much and kind of tells you what the game's about, but does not offer any signups for a beta. Though, if you click on the pre-order now button, it allows you to register for emails, so I recommend doing that because usually these promotional emails may lead you to a beta client or something down the line. It's a little tip from me to you: whenever you're looking for a game that's coming out, sign up for the newsletter always. The website, as you scroll down, tells a little bit more about the lore of the game, as well as what to expect from the comment system, such as Tai Chi, Lion's Roar, and other martial arts techniques that are going to be available to you to both learn and use. But let's get to the juicy part about what this video is actually truly about. Now, the developers have a little note on their first post, and when you translate the website, it's basically talking about the game, the freedom players will have, martial arts, and what have you, and most of that information which has been reiterated basically from the front page. However, a quick look at the first paragraph states, to put it bluntly, 16 Voices of Yan Yun, so that's the rough translation. The English version is obviously Where Winds Meet, decided to go the opposite direction of traditional martial arts games, striving to polish the rough and hardcore texture, establishing a new martial arts aesthetic coordinates. Again, this is going to be like really rough Chinese to English because of Google Translate, but hopefully it makes sense. But they go on to say, and also boldly trying the single player mode X, multiplayer mode, fusion gameplay to explore the fulcrum between immersive content experience and interactive emotional links. Now, if you scroll a little bit more, already in your head you're like, multiplayer, that's interesting. So what exactly does this mean? So once you're scrolling down a little bit more, it'll say things like, in the game there are not only NPCs, but also players. For players that like to play doctors, or healers rather, the praise of patients and the number of incurable diseases treated have also become the criteria for judging their ability and status. So this is actually something that's really interesting because depending on the skill set that you decide to kind of go with in this game, it will build up your reputation around the area or the map, much like other games such as like Skyrim or other RPGs that are open world and have this kind of interactive model. So naturally, players here in the West and players in China have been put off by this comment as it comes across as an MMORPG, and I can't blame them. But I'm both happy and sad to say that this game is in fact not an MMORPG. On the official Bilibili Space site for the game, which I guess you can say is kind of like the Chinese YouTube, the developers answered some questions about this game in a quick post. They talk about the hard work in the game, that the parent company of Everstone is in fact NetEase, which is why I'm a little bit happy that this isn't an MMORPG and that it is instead an open world RPG with martial arts and some of the Chinese feeling that history has to offer from that time period. But they go more into detail by saying that the game will have both single player and multiplayer modes, and this will be released on all platforms, but currently they're only primarily focused on PC. So what exactly does multiplayer mean? Well, given that the game is talking about an open world that there are also players and not just NPCs, I would assume, and again, this is not something that's confirmed, but again, it's very hard to get information from these developers or even NetEase itself, and again, I'm just hazarding a guess here. It's going to be basically like Genshin Impact or Tower Fantasy or maybe Ghost of Tsushima. Perhaps you'll have the option to see players online, you can team up with them to do certain things, but it isn't a requirement. Kind of like Dark Souls. Sort of. Now, there doesn't seem to be any mentions of instance related things such as dungeons or raids, so I think we can rule that out entirely. that means it's not really an MMORPG. But yeah, it seems it's going to be just a way for players to play with each other or interact with one another, but I'm pretty certain that this is going to be similar to that of like Ghost of Tsushima or Dying Light or games like that. Basically, you can team up and do certain things together, but it's not a requirement. Mind you, now there are theories that maybe there is an MMO aspect to this game because of the wording once again. Because there's a big difference between saying our goal is by no means an MMO, because this is exactly what they say, versus actually stating we are not an MMO. Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility. It's always there. That possibility is there. But based on the current events of the game, I would say you should probably just expect a single player game that offers some co-op in one way or another. I kind of doubt that we're going to have thousands of players, but if we do, that would be rather interesting. But I mean, I could kind of see like tower fantasy kind of setting, not in its aesthetic, but rather it's a server, and then you can see all the players and you can kind of team up with them if you really want to. So that would be actually really interesting because I don't think that's been done before. But yeah, I mean, the game looks beautiful. I did a top 5 games I'm excited for video up here somewhere that you can check out. So my first impressions of the game was that this game looks badass and amazing, but I won't go into all of that fanboy mode. I mean, I've already done that. You can just check out that video. But yeah, does this disappoint you guys that it's not an MMO, or does it actually make you happy? People are probably confused because I said I'm kind of happy it's not an MMO. And the reason I'm a little relieved is because NetEase created Revelation Online, and that game broke my heart for reasons that I'm not going to go into here because this would be a 50-minute long video. But just enough for me to say that I'm glad it's not an MMO, or we would be in pain once again. But anyways, just let me know in the comments below and we'll talk about it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and click the adorable fucking bell to know when I upload a brand new video. And don't forget to come join my Discord if you want to chat and hang out. Much love, and as always, till next time, friends.